Top
Good
of the
morning.
morning.
Yes, and welcome to Voices of Healing and Justice. Today you're joined by your host, Dr. McNeil, and I'm joined this morning with the wonderful Miso. How are you this
Morning,
morning?
Dr. McNeil. I'm doing very well, and yourself?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for joining us on Voices of Healing and Justice. Today, Miso, we're going to dive into this wonderful topic. We have a wonderful topic with us this morning, natural healing and a pathway to somatic services. And so before we jump into this topic, the wonderful thing about this is there is this buzz in the community, Miso. There's a lot of chatter about getting back to your cultural roots, knowing what natural healing is and using it. And I know today that may come to some people as a shock because we live in a pill popping society. There's a pill for this and a pill for that. But I love it that there's this wonderful resurgence to get back to your roots because all healing can't be found in a pill bottle. What do you think
Mm.
about that, Lisa?
Oh, indeed, Dr. McNeil. So are you basically saying all the things our gogos and Kulu, the aunts and uncles, the elders of the community, so there is space for the natural healing to actually still take place in this day society?
Absolutely. Because what did we do before there was a pill?
Exactly. Mm.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yes. And many people
Exactly.
survived. Yes.
Yes. And there's this knowledge, there's this forgotten knowledge that we want to bring back to the forefront of your knowledge. There's this forgotten knowledge, Miso, about the earth has everything we need in it to heal ourselves. You mean to tell me that before there were doctors and pills and all of those things, that people used herbs and oils, rituals and culture to heal ourselves? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they worked indeed.
Exactly. So
Mm.
we that takes us right to that point where we think it's a myth. Like, oh, they want you to drink this tea. Oh, they want that stuff is a myth, Miso. That
Oh,
doesn't work. But indeed
yes.
it does. It does work.
Mm,
So
mm,
today on Voices of Healing and Justice, we're going to talk about just those things, all of those things that you're thinking. Is this something that my go-go said to me? Is this something that my grandmother said to me? Does this stuff work? Can
mm.
there be healing outside of a bottle? And we're going to address this notion of going back to nature, connecting with our
Yes.
cultural roots and heritage, and getting right in sync with nature. And but
Yes.
today we're gonna dive deep into that. We're gonna talk about its cultural roots. We're going to then talk about bringing your whole self to therapy. We want you to bring your
Mm,
whole self to therapy. We're going to then talk about using somatic services, Miso, to heal yourself. What do we
mm,
mean, Miso, by somatic services? I don't, can you tell our
mm.
listening audience, what do we mean when we say somatic services?
So definitely, somatic services are elements to which that can be incorporated into therapy as a mental health and social justice clinic, you know. So for examples, we speak on mindfulness, we speak on basically being one with self while in the process of therapy, and also just being aware of the environment, but also at the same time, it almost puts a sense of a spiritual elements where you can have your drumming, you know, and you can have your dancing, even in therapy, to encourage the very same aspects of let us connect spiritually, let us connect emotionally, let us connect physically, let us do everything all at once. And as you said, playing a full self, a full naked self, not really butt naked, but emotionally naked, emotionally vulnerable, you know? So to
Wonderful.
encourage all of that.
Absolutely, Miso. So I can't wait to dive into this. And then last but not least, we're going to guide you to our website and other places where you can actually get some of this therapy. So we're just not talking about theory here. Some of you have met me in a classroom before at a university. So no, I'm not telling you theory. I want to tell you
Mm,
about the practice of healing. So let's jump into this, Miso. Let's dive in. I want to start
yeah.
our conversation today, Miso, with what we talk about in our clinic all the time. In the Mental Health and Social Justice Clinic, we talk about bringing your whole self to therapy. So, Miso is South African and I am African American. So, I'm going to talk about what it means for me to bring my whole self to
Mm.
therapy. Being a African American woman, there are some traditions in my
Oh,
history that we talk about at home, but we don't necessarily
mm,
talk about in public. Does that make sense?
mm.
So
Yes.
one of those things is some of our cultural aspects. If I had a cold or something when I was younger, my grandmother would not tell me, "Oh, we're going to go to the doctor. You have a cold." My grandmother would try three or four natural remedies at home in our home environment. She would make a salve to put on our chest. She
Mm.
would provide us with a tea. She would wrap our bodies in this warm cloth. So
Yes.
she would say, sit down, you're gonna sweat it out. Does
Yes.
that make does that make sense? So we
Yes.
didn't we have those things as a part of our culture, and many of you who are African American, or you can relate to what I'm saying because we all engage in natural healing. We just
Yes.
don't call it that. Miso, can you help
Yes.
our audience understand some of the natural healing that goes on here in South Africa?
You know, Dr. McNeil, and as you said, you would think or you would assume that natural healing happens for specific people, but it's for all South Africans, all our colored communities, our black communities, our white communities, even our Indian communities in South Africa. It has been shown indeed that in as much as the black people, for example, is more spiritually linked. It's got concerns in regards to the ancestors, misalignment, bewitchment. But say at the same time, it's also a spiritual element within the colored communities where there's also belief of herbs to naturally heal. And then you also have, even within the Indian cultures as well, the communities where also there's a spiritual elements and belief in regards to obviously being misaligned and having their own practices in regards to how to naturally heal. And then obviously with the white communities, in as much as one would assume maybe they don't have, but they actually do have, you know. So which way I think 100% the full acknowledgement that actually all human beings have some way of naturally healing. So I think that was a very interesting factor, you know, because it's so easy to just assume one's race, there's certain things that they don't have. But I think it also shows Dr. McNeil just the ways which, as you said, the earth has always provided and given us forms and means, regardless of race, you know? So I think 100% people have to be aware that we are all started from somewhere. The earth that we have is providing us with things, and 100% why not use it?
Exactly. And that's going to take
Mm.
natural healing from this myth of,
Yes.
ooh, is it voodoo, Miso?
Mm.
Oh, these
Mm.
people are doing something, some trance, some trauma, some
Yeah.
mystical, magical stuff. No,
Mm.
that's why this segment is titled Separating Fact from Fiction. That's
Yes.
fiction. That's fiction
Yeah.
about voodoo. It's
Mm.
fiction
Mm.
about this is something that's unnatural. Does that make sense? We want to talk
Yes.
about just using the elements, and those
Yes.
elements are present in every culture. Like you said, that's the
Every culture.
beauty. The beauty of being here in South Africa is
Mm.
not only that the national anthem is in seven different languages. But this is the blending of cultures. This is the blending
Yes.
place of all of these cultures.
Mm.
And all
Mm.
of our cultures have natural
True.
healing
Yes.
elements, all of us.
Yes. Yes.
So when we
And
talk
Dr.
about
Yes.
this, mhm, when we
And
talk
yes, Dr.
about this,
McNeil, yeah.
go ahead,
Mm.
Miso. Yes.
Yes, yeah. So, and the interesting thing is, people, it has been proven, research has shown time and time and again that regardless of the years, people are still starting off with the natural healing elements first before they even go to institutions. So it shows that actually it is something that still exists, very important, and actually proving that it does work. And obviously, some do a dual, so doing both. But at the end, natural healing is the way to go for many of us.
Right. And Miso, now you take us into this first segment that we want to talk about is bringing your whole self to therapy. Miso, you just mentioned that there are times, or there are many times, when people are doing both. But what we often
Yes.
see in a therapy practice is we don't often see our clients tell us that they are practicing both. But we are
Yes.
that clinic where you can bring your whole self. So you'll, if maybe some of you heard yesterday when I did an interview with natural healer Cindy Massa in our community, and we talked about bringing your whole self to therapy. That when you come to us
Mm,
here at the Mental Health and Social Justice Clinic, you can tell us, my natural healer and I did this healing practice. This is how it
yeah.
worked for me. Dr.
Yes.
McNeil, is it possible that my therapist can talk to my natural healer? Our
Hmm.
answer at the Mental Health and Social Justice Clinic is absolutely.
Yes.
We want
Yes.
you to bring your whole self, your
Yeah.
every cultural part of you, every spiritual part of you. We want you to bring
Mm.
your whole self to therapy. Why is that so important, Miso?
Definitely, Dr. McNeil, bringing your whole self. Remember, this is also a form of identity. And in therapy, we obviously try and link in regards to maybe the challenges caused or by certain elements, obviously with experience, obviously with the way to which our culture. So these things create us, they make us as individuals, and they're part of us. So you definitely would never want to encourage anyone to hide a certain part of themselves because we want to combine and integrate all those elements, knowing that this is a living experience, and in hope that in therapy we get to expose and broaden and allow people to live within that context in a healthy, psychological and mental way.
Absolutely. And therapy is a place where we're trying to work with our clients to understand what it is that's bothering them. So when you have to hide that you're
Mm,
African American, you have to hide that you do these things at home. How can we get to what's going on with you when you've hidden the most precious part about yourself away from
mm,
us? So
mm.
we're saying, take these hands down. Bring
Yeah.
all of you, bring your whole self to
Mm,
therapy
mm.
because that's the only way you can truly heal. You cannot heal
Yes.
when you are hiding part of yourself away
Yeah.
from the therapist. There's a
Mm,
certain part of you, I better
mm,
not say, Miso,
mm,
better
mm.
not say. I don't want anyone to know me so that I did a cleansing of my spirit.
Yes.
I
Mm,
don't want anyone
mm.
to know that I burned sage in my house to get rid of bad spirits. So I'll just say my
Keep it to
weekend was
myself.
okay.
Yeah. Mm, mm. Indeed, indeed. Yeah, and also think, Pastor McNeil, there might be a sense of shame that these things are being done, or maybe there's a sense of, okay, I'm a bit of the odd one out if I do this, because here I am seeing this therapist, there's a psychological aspect to it. So if I'm gonna come with all these spiritual elements, they're probably gonna think, you know what, so this one is a bit different. But that's not the case at all. So we highly encourage people to be their full selves, to open themselves up, and to also allow us as a therapist to actually learn from them as well, because with these elements, we ourselves as therapists, we find that you tend to now be in one with others. You tend to also be able to relate easily and help people, which is what
Right.
therapy is basically about.
Right. And that shame goes back to culturally. Culturally,
Mm,
and for the African American community and for African communities,
mm,
our natural healing practices were not readily taught or looked
mm,
upon with honor and with great confidence. We were told, oh, well, what happened? Oh, you need to go see a doctor, or why are you guys doing that? So that shame is also culturally linked. It's linked back to
yes,
colonialism and racism and
yes,
all of those
yes,
things. So this
yes.
is this is our chance to say, forget all of those wrong teachings. Yeah, you heard Dr.
Mm,
McNeil say those were
yeah,
wrong teachings. There's nothing shameful about who you are. There's nothing
yes,
shameful
yes,
about it.
yes.
So we want you to
Mm,
bring your entire self to therapy,
mm,
unashamed,
mm, mm.
unconditionally, but truly you. Truly you. Yes. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited because when people feel when they can take that weight of shame off and say, no, I was burning some sage, Miso. Yeah, I
Yeah,
just can feel some bad spirits in my house. I
yeah.
just burned some sage this weekend. Not
Mm.
only have we validated their cultural practices, but we have validated them
That business. Yes. Mm,
as a human. And that is a
mm,
critical element to get started in therapy. So
mm.
we want you to
And
bring your whole self to therapy. Yes, Misa.
mm. Yes, and I was about to say, Dr. McNeil, and also solidifying one's belief. And obviously, because as individuals, as humans, we want to be believed. We want to be our own beliefs also to be normalized so that, we knowing that, okay, this one, in as much as they might not necessarily live it per se, but the fact that I'm being believed means what I'm experiencing and my practices are actually true and they do actually work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's so important to bring your whole self to therapy. But here at the Mental Health and Social Justice Clinic, we truly believe in somatic services. And so part of our cultural history, and in all cultures dance. Miso, all
Yeah.
cultures dance.
Oh, couch.
Whether we're in Ethiopia and we're dancing like this, all cultures dance.
Yeah. It's
But
a
do
way to just release. It's a way to
exactly,
live. It's a way to express
exactly.
happiness, gratitude. Yes.
Yes. In the African American culture, shake your body down to the ground. Yes. We want to dance. But how many of us are aware that dancing is healing? It's
Mm,
healing. There are so many times, Miso, where people will say, Dr. McNeil, I didn't have any energy to go out with my friends. But
yeah.
Yebo, I went out with my friends. I started dancing and I felt so much better. And I said,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. Leave the backache for later, but my gosh, it felt good to dance.
Yes. So at our clinic, at the Mental Health and Social Justice Clinic, we have dance therapy. You can come and
Yeah.
sign up with us and you can go to therapy. You can dance with a
Mm,
therapist. How many people
mm,
know that when you're out there shaking, you're shaking it up, Miso. You're breaking it down
yeah.
like it needs to be broken, okay? That you can be led by a therapist. If we could
Yeah.
say a few therapeutic words and you're bringing that natural energy in there, you can heal.
Mm,
You can
yeah.
heal yourself. At all,
Yes.
all healing, all therapy is not sitting on a couch and talking with the
Talking.
therapist.
That's
And
true.
sometimes
That's true.
talk therapy, Miso, doesn't work for everybody.
That's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true. Yeah.
So
Mm,
I like what you said earlier, Miso, about dancing can put you in this trance state. Can you talk a
mm.
little bit more about the trance state of dancing?
Definitely, Dr. McNeil. So when you dance, you often find that, I don't know if you notice, many of us when we dance, especially in the South African culture, we tend to close our eyes, we look up to the sky, and our bodies are moving, just intertwining, So definitely, I believe that when you're in that dance space, it's a definite spiritual element, it's a physical, it's the enjoyment of the environment, it's the thoughts that come with this, it's the excitement, the happiness that comes with it. And it's just this wave, just like this communication, this energy,
Yes.
this vibe, as I said. So definitely it feels like a trance, because even in some cultures, some African cultures, Dr. McNeil, actually, people induce trance in terms of a form of trance through dance.
Yes.
Mm,
Absolutely. And we can see those elements in Haiti and in Brazil,
mm,
all throughout the Caribbean, in the African American culture. You can see those historical African roots in many cultures all over the world. So when we go
yes.
to this dance, when we go into this trance, we are letting ourselves go freely, not only in our limbs and our body, but emotionally and
Mm,
mentally.
yes. Mm,
Healing happens mind, body, and soul. And we talked about that
yeah.
yesterday with Cindy. And so,
Mm,
dance is a way to heal your mind, your body, and your soul. Many
oh,
people get
yeah.
off the dance floor, Miso, and they feel like, whew, that was fun. Not only was it fun, but I feel a little lighter.
Yes. Yes.
I feel a little freer.
Yes.
And we find ourselves often when we're dealing with patients who have depression, we often recommend dancing alone,
Yeah.
turning on the music in your house
Mhm,
and just
mhm.
dancing, just letting
Yes.
go, and how that helps to lift your spirit. We
Mm,
talk about one of the things that we did in our community is oftentimes on Saturday in the African American community, your parents would turn on your music and everybody would do their specific chore. We would be cleaning. Sometimes me, so we would break out in a dance and your
yeah.
mother would have to say, get back to your chores. But
Enough dancing. Yes.
yes, but there was such a light spirit in the house
Yeah.
that all of
Yeah.
us would engage in cleaning or whatever our chore was, but somehow we forgot that it was a chore.
Yeah.
It became a dance competition or oh, let me see what you got going on over here. That's
Yes.
the
Yes.
power of dance. We
Mm,
don't want you
mm,
to forget that. We
mm,
don't want you to
mm,
be ashamed of it.
mm.
Dance your way right to the mental health and social justice clinic. And we're going to join in on the party. Okay?
Yes, indeed. Can't wait to see those bodies dancing.
Exactly. Another form of trance, Miso, another way of healing is drumming. And drum
Mm,
circles are huge here in South Africa. It's huge on the African continent. When I was in Uganda or Kenya, as well as here in South Africa and other parts of the world, Brazil and other parts of the world, drumming is huge. Can we talk about how does drumming help someone heal, Miso?
definitely, Dr. McNeil. Similarly to dancing, drumming in a space of this, even though there's a sense of coordination, and movement, but it's the same as the sense of this flow, the sound, the elements of creating the sound. The sound is going to take you to a certain level, emotionally and mentally. And just having a space to which where drumming in as much as we're not speaking in terms of expertise drumming, where obviously the drummers you see on the stage, but just creating your own rhythm, creating your own sound, so that it just works with you and tapping into using your own hands and just f finding a rhythm that works specifically and is made by you. So those elements tend to emotionally elevate one, and put one in the space of, okay, I'm doing this, okay, I'm feeling this, this is moving, let me change it to this tune, okay, let me try that tune. So definitely drumming is also quite a natural way of healing, a natural space of allowing yourself to just be in that space, in that situation where the control, in as much as you try it, but at some point it starts balancing itself out and just going into your own rhythm, which is one of the very things that we try and encourage as well in therapy, is just one getting into their own rhythm, dancing to their own tune, creating their own balance as well.
So, Miso, do I hear you say when we see these young boys and girls drumming in South Africa, they're just not beating a drum. They are
Mm,
creating rhythms. They are healing themselves. And many of
yeah.
them, many of us find ourselves. Whenever I recently went to a drumming class here in Cape Town. And I found myself,
Mm,
I was beating to my own rhythm. Really, I really was. But I
mm-hmm,
found myself when I left that drumming class, I just felt like my feet moved lighter. My feet could
mm,
glide me anywhere here in Cape Town, Miso.
mm,
And there
mm,
we are,
mm.
we're drumming. We're in our drum circle. Drumming brings in the element of sound
Yeah,
and rhythm
senses. Mm,
that connects with your soul and
mm,
allows you to heal.
mm,
And if you can think about it just in those three simple ways, I'm going to have
mm,
sound around me. I'm going to have this rhythm of drumming, and I'm going
mm-hmm,
to be able to heal my soul.
mm.
It is, and it's just
Yes.
that simple. And it's,
Mm,
we think about it in that simple manner, but there's a lot of physiology that goes behind that. And we'll explain that in a later episode. But how many of you know that there's physiology around sound therapy, around music therapy? This has a scientific base, and most people look at drumming,
behind it.
especially
Indeed.
exactly. In the African American community or in the African
Mm,
community, because it wasn't highly recognized, Miso, people look at drumming and they may feel ashamed or feel some kind of way about that. I believe Miso's having some network issues, so we're going to continue with our conversation.
yeah.
Not only drumming, but mindfulness. In our clinic, we offer mindfulness. Mindfulness is a way for you to be aware of your environment, to take in what's happening around you, to settle yourself, as my grandmother would say, settle yourself, calm yourself, and come into connect your mind with your breathing and your
Mm,
environment. It is a clear way of connecting your mind, your breathing, and your environment. And so here in our mental health and social justice clinic, we offer mindfulness as well. We offer the tool to connect your mind, their environment to your breathing. Breathing is fundamental. Oh my goodness. If ever you take the breath of life, breathing is just that fundamental. You take the breath of life. There's Miso. Miso's back to join us. Yes. So, Miso, we were talking about taking mindfulness and how we want to be
yes.
aware of our surroundings. We want to
Yes.
calm our minds and we want to connect the environment, our mind, to our breathing. Can you tell our listening audience a little bit more about mindfulness?
Yes. That's a big deal. It's just this being, being in the moment, being able to experience the moment, the environment, the elements around that specific moment, the feelings around the moment, the physiological responses of the moment, you know? So mindfulness is a very, very important aspect of healing, you know, because you want to encourage people to teach themselves, to learn that, you know, just like, for example, they always say when you're eating, you know, allow yourself to taste, you know, to chew every bite, bit by bit, you know, to get the taste, to get the sense, to get the feeling, to imagine it going down your throat, to your stomach. So that's an example of mindfulness where just being in the moment, you know, experiencing the moment to its fullest, you know, having the physiological responses of the moment, you know, to the breathing, you know, the breathing to calm the body, the breathing to allow the body to kind of regulate itself as well. So those are basically the concepts of mindfulness, you know, and also just in encouraging patience that you know, especially during stressful times, it's very important to allow yourself to be in that mindfulness state. You know, whenever you're experiencing things of extreme high emotions, you know, just basically regulating and eventually calming yourself down so enough to now make a decision if a decision needs to be made, but at a space where things are more aligned physiologically, mentally, and emotionally, and even soul-wise.
Oftentimes, Miso, in therapy, you'll hear people say, you need to sit with this emotion. And that
Yes.
ties culturally right back to what we're saying about mindfulness. Mindfulness is a way for you to sit with that emotion, to sit with that decision, to sit with what is happening to you. Does that make sense? And I say happening to
Yes.
you, like a
Mm.
death or someone being incarcerated or someone
Mm.
losing a limb in an accident. Some of those things
Yes.
are things that you can't control. They happen
Um,
to you and they're out of your control. And a lot of us have difficulty just sitting with that emotion, sitting with the
yes.
hurt and all of the emotions that come with that. And mindfulness is a way for you to tap into that, is a way for you to tap into that and to come to terms to realize your new reality. Does that mean if you had a
Yes.
right hand and
Yes.
you lost your right hand in an accident, there comes a time where you're going to have to realize and live with your new reality. And mindfulness is a tool that we use in
Yes.
our clinic to help people be able to live with and realize their new reality.
Reality. Indeed. Indeed.
Wonderful. So today with me, so we were able to talk about all the cultural links of natural healing. We were able to introduce bringing your whole self to therapy. Then we were able to talk about the three parts of somatic therapy: dancing,
Dancing
drumming, and
and
mindfulness,
mindfulness.
and how they
Mm.
link back to natural therapy. I think this has been a wonderful time, a wonderful episode. I hope that you all join us next week on Wednesday at 6 a.m. on Voices of Healing and Justice as we unpack and we talk about mental health in a very real way. And we bring social justice to our community so that we can thrive. I'm Dr. McNeil. It was my pleasure to be with you this morning. And Miso, yes.
Indeed, for everyone to please like, subscribe, and share. And if this topic definitely relates to you or relates to anyone else, please make sure that you share it with that individual. Otherwise, we will be seeing you next week.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. Have a good day, everyone.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye.